Morning, everybody. It is 8:25 a.m. Had a little late start today. It is March 13th. Welcome to my channel. This market is pretty nuts. Is pretty nuts. The market is basically just chopping around here. Now, generally, I would say this is going to lead to lower prices because we're accepting lower prices, right? But the Nasdaq has that monster level below us, and I don't really see it getting cut through. If it does, then that's market generated information that this market is in pretty bad shape. But I believe we're due for some type of bounce, to be it the dead cat bounce, be it whatever. We're due for some type of relief rally. Now, does that have to happen? No. Okay, that does not have to happen. It's just that, like this right now, Lutnick is speaking and he's talking about tariffs, and there's EU now putting tariffs on us. There's a lot of things going on, and it's a crazy market. My internals are almost they're important, but there's so much volatility that you just need to trade structure. Structure is king in this market. Structure is king. All right, let me give you something real quick before we get to the PPI at 8:30. I'm going to show you my ticks. Okay, I just want to show you this is not typical. Okay, this tick chart, that is enough to tell me that this is highly highly volatile, because generally you see either you paint green above the zero line and you hold it and you hold it and you hold it when the market's going up, and you generally paint red. This is back, forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like I said, generally when I see markets catching steam, it will kind of hold, hold, hold. This is not very readable, or is it very give me an edge, right? So you just got to really look at structure, all right? Which I do that. This analysis every day is structure. It just is more important, right? The minutia is not as important. Let's get into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steve Gonzalez. I use market profile and bond profile to find structure in the markets, along with gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this, supply and demand. And my favorite thing is market internals, which I said is being deemed to be too hard to read in the minutia because the price action is so volatile. Okay. Now, hopefully, you can join your boy every morning, give you the lowdown, the story of the markets. All right. Give you long and short trade scenarios along with market news. All right. Now, I think we're going to get right into the watch list right before the news comes out. So let's just do that. Let's just see where the markets are right now before PPI. So Ethereum up 1.51, VIX is up 1.36, 10-year yields up 0.51, Bitcoin's up 0.37, the dollar's moving around on me, down, up 0.16, gold's up 0.16, 30-year bonds being sold slightly, Dow's down 0.29, ES down 0.37, Russell down 0.40, crude's down 0.44, silver's down 0.50, Nasdaq's down 0.58. Now Nasdaq was relatively strong yesterday, but this morning it's relatively weak. Okay, but like I said, this market's now building a balance here, just like I talked about before. Okay, I talked about that yesterday. I said this is the area now that we're in. And what did it do yesterday? It went up. It didn't quite tag the last week's lows. But anyway, that's your futures right now. We're going to now look at the PPI. It's coming out. I'm going to give it to you right now. Boom. Let's see what news drops here. Boom. Here we go. We got news dropping. market is, let's see, let's wait for these numbers. All right, so headline PPI, headline PPI was supposed to be 3.3, came in zero point 0.1 lower, just like CPI. Now let's go for the core. Same thing. So the core expected 3.5, came in at 3.4. We got continuous jobless claims going under the expected number, initial jobless claims, a little miss of the number. So let's check out price action. Just give me a sec here while I do that. Let's check out the price action here. Now, right now, it's kind of moving around. Right here is when news came out, so it's in the middle of the overnight session. Okay, so you're in the middle. Right here is the mid. You can see it says mid. Okay. Right now, nothing burger. All right, you have a supply zone ahead, a demand zone below. Okay, we're in basically a balanced area now. Okay. So now that news has to settle, and like I said, in the middle of overnight, almost in the middle of yesterday, that's not a good place to be. Okay, it's indecisive. That's what's showing you, the structure showing you the market doesn't know yet what it wants to do. Okay, now we're going to get right back into daily charts here. Oh, actually, some news. Let's get into some news here. Going back to news, we just dropped the economic calendar. Now we're going to go to some news. Let's go back because there's a lot of things happening with tariff talk. Let's go back. We'll talk about some news here. All right, so looks like Intel appoints chip industry veteran Lip-Bu Tan as CEO. Let's see, exclusive. Citigroup plans to slash IT contractors, hire staff to improve controls. Tesla's working with Baidu to improve assisted driving system in China. Dollar General forecasts annual comparable sales growth below estimates. FTC no longer seeks Doge related delay in Amazon trial. Okay. Adobe reported yesterday the company forecasts second quarter revenue in line with Wall Street expectations on Wednesday as it grapples with slower monetization of its artificial intelligence offerings while facing tough competition from startups. Shares of the company fell in extended trading. The company expects second quarter revenue to be between 5.77 billion and 5.82 billion, in line with analyst expectations. And annual recurring revenue for Adobe's AI and add-on offerings was 125 million at the end of the quarter. Adobe expects to double this ARR figure in the next 3 quarters as it exits fiscal 2025. Its CFO Dan Dern told Reuters in an interview the company reported revenue of 5.71 billion, beating estimates of 5.66 billion. It reported digital media revenue of 4.23 billion for the first quarter, above analyst estimates of 4.19 billion. On an adjusted basis, the company earned 5.08 per share, compared with estimates of 4.97. All right. SentinelOne, the company forecasts its fourth quarter and annual revenue below Wall Street estimates. Okay. Let's see here. Alrighty. Let's get into the juice. So a lot of things popping here. All right. A couple things here. Trump, U.S. to shortly place 200% tariff on EU wine. Okay. So there's a tariff war basically going on. Just trying to see if anything else. I know Lutnick is speaking. All right. Let's see if we can have a Lutnick here. Let me pull that up here because he was talking and we could put that up. Let's look at that real quick. So here we go. It says right here, Lutnick, Canada needs to let the U.S. build its steel, aluminum. Lutnick, Trump on April 2nd will describe how to balance trade. Okay. Lutnick, EU response to U.S. was disrespectful. Europe, Canada, don't respect Trump. Trump will always respond bigger, stronger. All right, that's what's going on there. All right, just wanted to bring that up. All right, I think we can move on to the daily charts. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's keep it moving today. Let's look at these charts together. That's why I said in my headline or my card for my YouTube, is the market bottoming here? You're getting bought up at the bottoms of these candles. Yes, we closed below the 200-day moving average, right? We really haven't had a rally at all, really that much in the last couple of sessions. Okay, you had a little bit here when you close above the 200-day moving average. Then you open below it, and we've been below it, right? So we have to see what happened. Now remember, year-to-date anchor VWAP from last year is 542.86, lines up with this trend line. Okay, so just have to see where we at now. 558.30. 558.30 brings us in the middle yesterday's session, like I showed you in futures. Yeah, I mean, look at these sessions, all in the middle here. Horrible trade location for the ES, horrible. So let's go to Qs. So here's the Qs. You can see we bounced off last year's anchored VWAP. Like I said, and that happens to be the most traded price of the rolling year. Actually, that moved, but it's still it's only by ticks. So this is why I think a bounce is coming. Do we take this out? I don't know. Remember, see, tech was relatively stronger yesterday. Okay, where are we at now? 475.90. Let's call it 479.90. Right here, middle of yesterday's session, below last week's lows. Tried to come above last week's lows and couldn't make it yesterday. Okay, let's look at futures. Futures, you look at those highs, almost trying to break last week's lows, couldn't. So you got resistance in here. Now you got a weak low here. We'll talk about that later. Okay, so you got an XS low here. Buying came in, and now we've been holding that. So you have a higher low, higher low, higher low. And now your job is to see if you can break into last week's range. Okay. Moving on. All right. So we're going to look at the triple-headed monster now. Let's get into that 10-year yield. Actually, let's look at that. I like looking at the Mag 7 ETF. Let's look at that real quick. It's going to look very similar to the Qs. All right. Only difference is, look, that dropped below last year's anchored VWAP. And are we bottoming in now? Look at the Mag 7 double bottom here and really showed some relative strength yesterday. So let's just see where we go from there. Now let's go to the 10-year yield. Okay, let's look at that yield. We're hitting the 20-day simple moving average here. Right here, we're trying to go. Now this is last week's highs, actually. Interesting, right? Getting resistance there. Now, like I said, could this become a swing high and we drop? All right, we don't know. Will we back over last year's anchored VWAP? All right, back over the 200-day moving average. Okay, so this support is really key. 4.13 yield to watch. All right, I don't know if I put up that triple head monster, but I'll put it up. Now we'll go to the dollar. Look at that dollar together. Dollar has taken a plunge, a big time plunge, and we're hanging out at last week's lows. Look at last week's highs. Look at that range. My lord, that's a big range. Big range. All right, below every moving average. And we stopped here, right at this key support level. That makes sense. Remember, if we lose this, this is not good structure, and we should fall to 100. Don't know if that happens, but just gotta keep that on your mind. All right. Now VIX, fear. The fear is alive. It's alive. We're holding. We're holding up here in the 20s. That's why this is so volatile. Okay. Last week's highs right here were inside last week's range. Went from a 19 to a 26. Right. So that's just showing the volatility in the fear in the market. That's 30 days out of fear. Okay. 30 days out of fear. All right, moving on. We're going to move on to the main event. Main event coming up. Maybe we'll get into some RG charts later. Maybe not. Let's go here. All right. Let's look at these charts together. It's really all about this area here, okay? Now, we got to look at structure because structure is definitely king. Definitely king. The way the market moves makes you think it's going to break down, it's going to break out, right? But structure is king, okay? Let's look at what we did yesterday. Okay, there's yesterday. Let me make this fatter here. Okay, so there's yesterday's session. Okay, we opened here, pushed up. Where did we push up? Previous day's highs, right there. Boop. Right, and then we fell below this most traded price of the week, which is now 56.20. Okay, and then we came up, tapped that, rolled over, went down, right? Went down here, got bought up, went right to the most traded price of the week, and then we closed down here. Okay? So sellers tried to push it lower, couldn't, went right back into range. Okay? That is yesterday. Let's move these to Costa. Okay. So now, look at our structure here. We have a volume profile. Look at that. You got that excess at the top. Now we have value area. This is where we've been hanging out, right? This is the meat of the last week, and you got a little excess to the bottom. So essentially, if you were going to make this symmetric, you would have probably down here. Okay, but we are essentially balancing right now. I believe the market's at a standstill, doesn't know what it wants. That's what the market's showing us. The structure of the market is showing us that. Okay, here's the overnight high. Here's the overnight low. Here's the midpoint of the overnight. That's where price is right now. Here's the high of yesterday, the low of yesterday. So we're inside yesterday's session. Okay, and we have supply, right, and demand right at the highs of the overnight and the lows of the overnight. Okay, so basically your playground is this, all right, from 55.59, okay, I would say down to 55.34. That's a playground. Okay, now you do have demand in here, so you have to put, say if we come down to the overnight lows, as I get defended, so you got a little box there. All right, all right, so let's make this look nice. Now we do have overnight high, confluence high here with the supply zone, most traded price of the week, and the overnight low. Okay, and then we have this area. This is last week's lows and yesterday's highs. All right, now where would be the ultimate place to do business? Would be in here, in here. That's the extremes, but you don't always get the extremes, right? Like yesterday, you couldn't come down to this level, right? You only came to here. You couldn't come all the way up in the real-time trading hours up to the highs of up to the lows of last week. You only came here. We did do it in the overnight. Okay, so now let's talk about scenarios. Okay, I'm gonna put that up here. And since we're down by the lows, we're going to talk about the bull case because we're in balance. Now, bears are running the show, but let's talk about the bull case. Okay, got our areas of interest up there. Okay, price is right here. So our first test is this box, right? You got the overnight lows, right? Got this demand zone. So do we pop in here? Higher low, and then we look to tag at least 56.20, the most traded price of the week. Now the bonus would be you find acceptance above this price, right? Find acceptance above the price, and then we can start to go. You got single prints here. Go into this basically, yes, last week's lows. Okay, if you break out of this, you can find yourself all the way up here. Okay, now extreme, right? Let's see, we drive all the way down to this low, right? This could be a bear trap, and you touch this demand and you rip up. And if this market's not that weak, you could find yourself to at least here. Bonus would be up there. Okay. Now, bear side. Okay. So, price is here. All right. So, bear side wants to stay below the most traded price of the week, 56.20. Okay. Structure wise, you want to stay below that. All right. And you want to aim for these lows. Right. So, we have supply here with this confluence high at 56.20. So the price, let's say it moves up here and tries to break 56.20. Let's say it can't find acceptance above it. It rips down. Now I think the longs from yesterday and today will be in question. And then you could start to take out the overnight low, 55.60, and then work your way to balance lows. This is key, 55.34. Right? Now, if you're in balance, you're going to bounce and bounce up. However, what if we start finding acceptance in this demand zone? Well, we could find ourselves moving lower. And you actually break lower. Okay? The other move that could happen, okay, is let's say we do get a move up here. Hold. Test these extreme side of the balance. Last week's lows. And we go like this, and boom. We're probably going to go back to at least here. All right, so that is your long and short trade scenarios in the ES. Okay, now moving on to the NASDAQ. All right, let's make this a little bigger. NASDAQ, when it has all these ticks and it's that volatile, it's a real lot of data. So my system lags a little bit, even though I have a beefy computer. It's still, there's so many ticks getting processed in the NASDAQ. Okay, so we're going to talk about the structure. Okay, you could see huge excess here, and then you have the value area, and then excess to the bottom. So essentially some balance. Okay, now yesterday, remember I said it went right into this demand zone and bounced. Okay, right into the demand zone and bounced. So it tapped. Now the Qs tapped last week's lows yesterday, right here. That was the low. Here's the overnight low. See, now we have a confluence low at the top, a confluence high at the top, I mean, sorry, confluence low at the bottom, confluence high at the top. That really is your breakout areas. Pretty easy to see that. Okay, pretty easy to see that. All right, and we'll talk about that. Now, here's your overnight low, overnight high. Okay, we do have demand, supply and demand here. Now, this demand is pretty used up. Doesn't mean you can't get support here, but it is used up. Okay, and you have demand down here, and now the most traded price of the year, of the rolling years, is because it's rolling, so it will actually move back up. But this is still a monster high volume node right here, around 190. I think it's 190.47 or something like that. Okay, so that's our monster right here. I don't believe that gets cut through until later, but anything can happen. Okay. Okay. So where are we at? Midpoint of the overnight. Midpoint of yesterday's right here. Okay. Now, most traded price of the week is 196. Let's just call it 196. Happened to be the most traded price of yesterday, and now it's the most traded price of the week. Okay. So the Nasdaq, I really like it for extreme levels. Okay. So now you know you got a confluence low. Call it 194 right here in this demand zone. That is your area right there. Okay. That's the area the Nasdaq bulls want to defend, bears want to break it. Okay. Your confluence high. That's last week's lows. You have two resistance points here. That's around 197.78. Okay. That's another area, right? Bulls want to break it, bears want to defend it. Now, we don't have the most traded price here of the week lining up with any significance here. So that's why these extremes are just like, man, they're everything. Okay. Now, we do have lows here, but you could tell the Nasdaq has been pushing up more than the ES. You could see that the ES is more closer in balance. Now, the last three sessions have had this new little balance area, right? And you know the ES had a balance area highs and lows. So all you got to worry about today is these really extremes. We could probably even put this up to here. Okay, it's all that really matters. And we can get right into scenarios with this, okay? Let's do it. And we are going to do NASDAQ, okay? Let's start with the bull. Okay, we know this is the area the bulls want to defend. We're in the mid. You don't want to, this is chop zone, all right? This is chop suey, chop city, whatever you want to call it, okay? For me, it's a gamble. Might as well go to the casino right here and go long or short, all right? And you're right at the 24-hour most traded price of the week. So I need to see a move down into this area. Maybe test this confluence low here and see if we get a bounce. If we start the bounce, gain some momentum, we are definitely going to probably go up. Probably get some resistance here and try to make our way back up to that week high. Remember, if this gets broken, this could really start to move back to 20,000. Okay. You take this out, it's the last three sessions lows. You have a big demand zone here, and this area, like I said, this area down here is the big level. I don't know if we got down here, because that would mean we'd be pretty weak. If I'd be looking for long, I'd have to see. Okay, I'd have to see. This is really what I'm looking for. I mean, we could do this. Okay, let me get this straight. You could, let's say we don't go down and we do this and you start holding that most traded price, but you're in supply. This is why I don't like it. But if you're finding acceptance in here, you could then move and then see if you can move higher. Okay, so that's that. let's talk about the short side. Oh, let's put that there. Just trying to get rid of these suckers. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I don't know if I get it. Here we go. All right. We'll keep that box there. All right. Now, if we go to our short side, okay, prices here. Now, we do have supply here lining up with this high volume node here. We'll show the price of the week, but you're still in Chop Suey, Chop City, right? So for the short side, you want to push up here into this supply and tag this. If you do a lower high, you got to take out this most traded price. But once you do that, you're going to test these confluence lows, that 194. Okay, if you break that, I believe you're probably going to mosey down to the 192. Okay, possibly test these lows, 191.40s, and then that's your monster level. I do not think we can break that right now. Okay, if we do, it's going to cause big time fall in these markets if we do this and we start to hold down there. That is a huge level. Okay, so that's number one right here. Now you could also come to this extreme and do the same thing. What's another way? What if we just push down and break this confluence low, right? Well, if you break this area and you find acceptance, you're probably going to go down at least to here. It's a wild market, folks. Okay, that is scenarios. Okay, now that's the plan. We got our plan. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the analysis. Okay, smash the like button if you enjoyed the analysis. Okay, now why don't we look at some RRG charts before we get into the thing, get into the market, right? I'm about to I don't know if we'll make this tradition, but since I've coded these, let's just see what markets are doing, right? All right, so I'm going to bring you to my code. This is Python, so I'm just going to put this in. I'm going to rerun this. So this is the main, I want the main. Give me 1 second here. Main. Okay. It's going to run it here. And now I have it that we're going to look at the main sectors first. Okay, these are all the main sectors. And I'm going to go back to 20 days back. And we'll look at this chart together. Okay. I'll put this chart up for you guys. All right. So, I love this. Okay. So, remember like I said, farther to the right, stronger than SPY. Relatively stronger. Farther to past 100, you're relatively stronger than the SPY. If you're high, that means you have momentum. Okay, so this upper right quadrant means you're leading, you're strong. Okay, so these are the sectors, right? So this is what I love to look at, right? The dots show where they are now, right? So notice the dots all fell yesterday. Okay, all fell except financials got a little boost. Discretionary, a little boost, right? Semis went sideways. Technology kind of went sideways, right? So the laggards here, semis, technology, discretionary, right? Discretionary is right now the weakest. Okay, now that is our main sectors. Okay, so if we go to discretionary, I just want to show you what I added to here. If we go to discretionary, now we know we have discretionary, right? That is the weakest sector. So now I'm going to go dive in to discretionary top holdings. Okay, that would be here. And now we're going to look at the discretionary holdings. Okay, and see what they look like. Remember I said the farther away from 100 you're stronger. Okay, so you can see who's the weakest? Tesla, right? Then you got bookings, Starbucks, right? These are the laggards, Nike. And now the only guys that got some strength here is McDonald's, is the only one that is in the strong gaining momentum, but actually look at that, it fell. So there's nothing. This is a very poor sector. The only one that got some movement yesterday was Amazon, starting to creep. It's right equal to the S&P 500 right now. So I just want to give you a look there. Okay, that's the look there. Now I have the other ones here, and we're going to get into subsectors. Okay, this is really cool because it just gives you a scope of what is going on under the hood of the market. Okay, so we'll do that, and we'll look at this together. Okay, a lot of subsectors here. Doesn't matter. We can still see what's strong and still see what's weak. Okay, the only thing that's really pretty strong are these autos. And in these autos, what's been strong is actually the foreign cars. And that is your Neo, Xpeng, right? That's been strength, believe it or not, right? And let's see what moved yesterday. Metals and mining. They became strong up here, right? Metals and mining. Aerospace defense got a little push. Right, so all of these subsectors have been stronger than the SPY, and all of these have been weaker. Jets, airlines are literally the weakest. If you look at those charts, horrendous. Right, then I added this Bitcoin. Right, Bitcoin also is here. Okay, transportations, leisure, retail, regional banks. Now we just had a move with oil and gas. All right. So that's what I'm looking for. You can see solar starting to pull back. This is really cool. I love looking at this. Okay. I love it. I love it. All right. Now, if we were to look at this, and let's just look at the autos, right? Because look, oh man, it's really not strong. So I would go in here, and I want to go and rerun the script, and we'll look at autos. All right. So that would be 21. So I select 21. I go to 20, all right, and we'll look at those auto holdings, and just to see who is really strong here. There you go. Look at Xpeng. All the way up there, Neo, LI. Look at these charts. All right, I believe these are all China. Okay, and who's the laggard here in autos? Tesla, Lucid, Boyd, Rivian. But this is the 100 line, right? This is where you're under the SPY, you're relatively weak, or you're equal, or then you're stronger. Okay? So, just wanted to show you this. I'm going to make a daily thing for myself. I don't know if I want to do this on the channel. I don't know if this interests you guys, but I think it's awesome. Okay? Really can dive down and go, what's leading, what's lagging, and real quick on a chart. I think it's awesome. Okay? So, hope you guys enjoy me every day. Right? Subscribe, set an alert. That would mean a lot to me. Of course, always smash the like button. I think I might have had that before, but that's okay because I went to the RRG charts. All right. So everybody, we have a plan today. We have a plan. Extremes. Just think of extremes and don't get caught in that chop city. All right. Okay, everybody. Have a great day. No shades of trade. Stay green.